Whenever you get into a conversation about philosophy, there is nothing more useful and appropriate and welcome than engaging in name dropping. The more names and the more fabulous and fantastical they are, the better. So whenever you have the chance to tell somebody that you studied with so-and-so and they're a big important philosopher and their take was this, or it doesn't even have to be a take, it can just be something that they would say offhand during class that impressed you, or maybe even if you don't have any names that you studied with, you can bring up people whose books that you've read, or videos that you've seen, or anything else that establishes a kind of continuity between your brain and their brain and gives you a little bit of a boost, a kind of credentialing, some edge, you might say, that you can bring to bear. This is a really great idea in comment sections. Whenever you read somebody's blog post or something in Medium or in an article or a Substack, if you have anybody that you can possibly cite, even if you're getting the citations wrong, or if it's not particularly relevant, you should always bring it up. Same thing with YouTube comments, or comments on a podcast, or comments in social media. It doesn't even have to be particularly relevant to the topic under discussion, because what's most important is who we know and who we can claim some clout because of our connection. That is the most important thing in philosophy. Just imagine if you had studied with Immanuel Kant or Hegel, or jumping into our own time, if we pick famous people, you studied with Peter Singer or Martha Nussbaum. Wow, that means that you are somebody just like they're somebody. And how do we know that they're somebody? We can take a look at their books and take a look at the back cover, sometimes even on the interior part. This is a major work of philosophy. These are big brain people. So by extension, if they're big brainers, then we participate in that through a kind of platonic, whatever it happens to be, participation, modeling ourselves after them, even just chatting and dropping their name in. If you happen to go to a famous school, you can even use the school rather than the people that you studied with. When I was at University of Chicago, when I was studying at Harvard, when I was at Oxford, pick whatever else you want. It can all be fodder for a kind of one-upsmanship in showing who you really are. You don't have to wear a jacket or have the right kind of tie or anything like that. You just need to say where you studied and ideally who you studied with, and that establishes you as an authority. I know that you might be saying, well, wait a second, I think I remember reading in some of Plato's dialogues that this Socrates guy would often say things like, oh, I'm not interested in what you are citing from this person or that person who's famous. You know, it's great that Simonides or Homer or whoever else said these things, but I want to know what you actually think and what you know and whether your ideas make sense together. You don't have to have any ideas of your own. It's enough if you take the ideas of somebody else who, of course, is much more famous than you and therefore much more right, much more intelligent, a better person. why not just take them on and paste it like a mask on yourself and just chatter about the people who you know and who you've studied with? That will definitely impress everybody, not just business types who think that it really matters, which school you went to and who your contacts are, not just star effers, not just the people who don't really read philosophy and just like to have the books on their shelf. Real philosophers, of course, think that prestige and position is the most important thing for determining who is right. So, if you've got some famous names in your background, hammer those in as often as you can so everybody knows what a great thinker you are by your connections to other thinkers. And if you don't, well, you could always make some up. You could pretend that you went someplace famous and studied with people who are celebrities. Or you could get working on that right now. Maybe see if you can carry around a book of theirs. Or better yet, if you can go someplace that will make those star connections for you. So that might be some really helpful advice for how to get ahead in this world of philosophy.